Welcome to today's lesson on theoretical and experimental probability, presented to you by Mrs. Solis. The topics of discussion for today are theoretical probability, experimental probability, comparing both, and then 2 practice problem examples. Please remember that you may pause this video at any time and continue as necessary. Let's get ready to probability. First, we are going to discuss theoretical probability. Theoretical probability is based on the possible, like impossible, outcomes you are looking for and the total number of outcomes or options that are available. Theoretical is what should happen, like we all should love math, right? Let's look at some lunch options and discuss theoretical probability. Number 1. What is the theoretical probability of choosing chicken nuggets? We solve this by looking at all the options we have, such as chicken nuggets, pizza, cheeseburger, and hot dogs. This shows we have 4 total options. Then we look at how many of the options are chicken nuggets, which means that the theoretical probability is 1 out of 4, or 1/4. Number 2, what is the theoretical probability of not choosing a hot dog? We solve this one by looking at how many total options we have, which is still 4, and then looking at how many are not hot dogs. So we have chicken nuggets, pizza, and cheeseburger. This makes the theoretical probability of not choosing a hot dog 3 out of 4, or 3/4. And number 3, what is the theoretical probability of choosing pizza or a cheeseburger? For this question, we are still having to look at the total number of options, which is 4, and then we need to decide how many options are pizza and a cheeseburger, which is 2. So this probability is 2 out of 4, but we have to stop and simplify, which would give us 1 out of 2, or 1/2. Now we're going to move onward to experimental probability. Experimental probability is based on the actual outcomes you are looking for and the total number of outcomes that were experimented. Experimental is what did happen, like everyone did finish watching. Okay, here we go, back to this lunch menu. Anyone else getting hungry? So let's determine some experimental probability. Experimental probability is usually given to us as results of an experiment or test someone completed. In this example, you can see that there is a certain number of people that were surveyed, and those numbers are what we are going to use to answer the questions on the screen. Let's go ahead and get our total so that we have one less step to do later on. If we add 8 plus 5 plus 5 plus 2, we get that there are 20 people that were surveyed in this experiment. So this is the total we will use for the following problems. Number 1, what is the experimental probability of choosing chicken nuggets? We can see that 8 people chose chicken nuggets, and if our total was 20, we can say that 8 out of 20, but we have to stop and simplify. When simplified, this ends up being 2 out of 5, or 2/5, that chose chicken nuggets. Question 2, what is the experimental probability of not choosing a hot dog? For this problem, it is recommended to subtract the number of hot dogs from the total because that leaves everything but the hot dog. When you subtract 2 from 20, we are left with 18. The probability of this question would be 18 out of 20, but we have to stop and simplify, which in return gives us 9 out of 10, or 9/10. Question 3, What is the experimental probability of choosing pizza or a cheeseburger? This problem asks about two of the items, so we need to combine the number of pizza and cheeseburgers, which would be 5 plus 5. This gives us 10. So the probability for question 3 is 10 out of 20. But we have to stop and simplify. The probability is now 1 over 2, or 1/2. Now that we have discussed both theoretical and experimental probability, let's compare our results. While you are looking at the results from the activity we just did, I would like for you to pause this video and answer these questions. 1. What do you notice about the probabilities for each problem? 2. Are any the same or are any of them different? 3. Why do you think this happened? Okay, go ahead and...
Stop! Have time!
Well, now let's take a look at practice problem 1. It says a number cube was rolled 20 times. Determine the theoretical probability. Remember, this is just the options column. And the experimental probability. Remember, this is the number of people column of rolling a 1 or 3. Go ahead and stop this video and give it a try.
Stop! Have time!
Okay, if we look at theoretical, the probability would be 2 out of 6. But we have to stop and simplify, which gives us 1 out of 3, or 1/3. For experimental probability, it is 11 out of 20, or 11/20, which cannot be simplified. If you got this problem correct, go ahead and give yourself a high five. And let's move on to the next practice problem. Practice problem 2. Jessica had a bag of Skittles. Determine the theoretical probability and experimental probability of not choosing yellow. Go ahead and stop this video and give it a try.
Stop! Have time!
All right, if we look at the theoretical probability, this would be 4 out of 5, or 4/5. For the experimental probability, you should have added up the total number of Skittles, which is 40 Skittles, and then taken out the number of yellow Skittles, which leaves you with 29 out of 40, or 29/40 of the package that are not yellow.
Closing time. Open all the doors and let you out into the world.
Well, friends, this has been a fun lesson, but let's do a little recap before I have to let you back out into the world to apply all of your newfound knowledge. First, we learned about theoretical probability and that it is what should happen in probability. Second, we discussed experimental probability and that it is what did or actually happened. And third, when we look at the comparison, we decided that they are not always the same, but that they are pretty close. Well, it's been fun, but I've got to let you go. See you next time.